Hello and welcome to Navigating to Success. I'm your host, Jeff Carlton, certified focal point business coach and executive coach. Today's journey, very varied background and interesting individual, Craig Hudkins. Owns Hudkins Realty, just started a new venture with Real Realty Realtors. He's going to tell us all about that. Multiple degrees, certainly a tremendous interest in higher education, MBA, pharmacy, sports health and wellness. Did some time as a personal trainer, um, some football. He's got a lot. There's a lot under the hood here. But we're going to talk about his current venture and some of the past experiences that led to that. So I'm going to throw it over. Welcome, Craig. Tell us about Hudkins Realty and Real.
Well, glad to be here. Thank you for letting me be a part of your podcast. I really appreciate that, and it's an honor. So my wife and I have a small real estate team up here in Spokane. We also work in North Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and Hudkins, our real estate is our team, but we're brokered by Real Broker, which is a relatively new company that's a cloud-based company and gives us the ability. They've got a lot of great technology to support our business. And we work with, we've been selling homes since 2016. We've done fix and flips and, handled rentals, been involved in apartment complexes, syndications, you name it. We've dabbled in it. So
Right. Let's pull a thread a little bit. What makes Real different that it's because we talked about that before we started the podcast that it's cloud based. What leverage flexibility does that give you?
so they take out because one thing that always got under my skin with a lot of the brokerages I was with was you pay a high company dollar, basically paying the equivalent of a franchise fee to be a part of the brokerage. They handle your paperwork, they host your transactions, things like that. But I've seen, a variety of value, provided for that company dollar. And what Real does is it is taken out, they don't have a marketing budget. Everything that they do is on social and they've put that money back into their agents. So they have a lower company dollar, but then they also have great technology that makes the cloud-based brokerage very a seamless process. So you can do it from anywhere. Like I was renting office space at my last office and I was going in there and nobody was there. So there was just like almost no advantage because I wasn't getting any energy from it. That's kind of why I went there. Plus, I was paying rent. I'm like, I can stay home and it's
Uh,
and get
it's it's an interesting trend in the service industries to see them leaving the storefronts behind. Um, and I don't know if that's a fallout of the way we do business different post COVID. Um, but it'll work until it doesn't, and then we'll see the storefronts come back. I don't know. My magic eight ball is well, it didn't pick the winner of the World Series, so it's not going to predict business either.
yeah.
Um, so you've been doing this for 8 years. Well, first off, how big is Hudkins Realty? How is it just you and your wife, or do you have a bigger team?
We have had a big team and I want to say we downsized as a result of COVID. It was just yeah, I think it works better just having her and I do it. I mean, as we grow again, because the interest rates changing kind of changed the landscape for us a little bit. And we just scaled down as much as we could to lean it up as much as possible. So we could stay in business, so we could keep going. And we've changed the nature of our business quite a bit in the last couple of years, and it's easier just to do that with us.
Sure. What do you see as the biggest challenge? I'm very familiar with the Montana markets right now. What do you see as a biggest challenge You mentioned interest rates, but how is inventory in Spokane and Eastern Washington?
Yeah, I think that that is going to be an ongoing problem, probably for the rest of our lives, or at least, the next several decades, because, Spokane, a growing market. People are moving to Spokane. I mean, I don't have the numbers, but what I do know is the number of houses that have been selling that have actually been listed to sell is like 50% of what it was 3 or 4 years ago. So we literally have less houses, but a bigger population. So now, and everybody's building apartment complexes. So we're just going to have a lot more rentals and a lot less houses selling. So the inventory is going to be a problem, regardless of the interest rates.
And I think that's a really good indicator and something for people throughout the Northwest Intermountain region is that housing inventory is a challenge. It is a huge challenge in Montana right now, and I know that uh, we can't build them fast enough.
Yeah.
Um, it is a an issue. So um, switching gears a little, we talked or hinted at it beforehand. What, well, what got you to shift out of what you were doing previously as a trainer and an actor model? Uh, it was just kind of cool. And like this guy just does a little bit of everything. Uh, what inspired you to start your own business?
Well, so years ago, I went into the health and fitness business because I was wanted to follow my passion. I love working out. I love fitness. And then I did it for 10 years, but it became, when your passion becomes a job and you start to, it grinds, it was like it was time for a change. And the acting and all that other stuff really, just because you're working in a gym, you're I don't know, you're like on a stage all the time anyways. So people are always coming in, hey, can you do this? And literally one night somebody said, hey, they're looking for a guy like you to do this. And I went and auditioned and got the part, and I was in a play. And the play ended up being like artistically really great, and the local acting community took notice of it. And the next thing you know, I've got a manager or an agent. And
Wow.
and then and
Yeah,
then
that's what we call
my
mission creep in the military.
it so then, but all of it, what it all led up to was, I was working for someone, and these big opportunities were coming my way, and it started to help me thinking bigger. And when I left the gym business, I took some time and I downsized my life, and I was like, okay, I want to start a business, but I want to make sure I do it right. And I didn't know I was going to do a fitness business, but I thought, no, I'm kind of done with that. And real estate kind of landed on me one day. Somebody was talking about the market being better, and it was just like a light bulb went off. And I jumped right in. I got a job with an agent, making phone calls, trying to help her build her clientele up. And because in fitness, it's sales. I mean, you're selling personal training, selling memberships. So a lot of the skills were transferable. And I saw what she was making from the appointments I was setting for her. And I'm like, all right, I got to get my license. I can't waste any time on this. And so I hustled up and got my license. And then just went out on my own and started doing what I'd learned how to do with her. It's making calls.
So was the passion then to be independent? Was that kind of it, the driver?
To be to work, I guess I'd say self-employed, to work for myself, but really it was, somewhere in there I had a life coach. And this life coach said, he goes, you're a terrible employee. And I'm like, what? He goes, but so am I. But you're a better business. He said, you should do business for yourself. And I had that's an epiphany that you realize, I shouldn't work for other people. I mean, I work for my clients, but I need to have
That's
creative
different.
control.
Yeah, that's different when you're working for your client. Yeah.
It's
Um,
control over your own destiny. Like if I want to work a lot, if I want to develop a skill that translates well to making a lot of money or to being doing certain things, I can do that now. I couldn't do that before. I was held back by other people.
so I'll phrase this carefully. Um, how was it? Um, what was the easiest part about starting your own business?
Hmm. Well, I think getting the license was pretty easy. Um, I would say just maybe the mindset around it I was just ready at that time. I was ready to just start doing my own thing.
You had
Um,
the drive. Yeah.
just the drive to get up and go.
So
Yeah.
what was the hardest then?
Well, I went about 6 months before I closed on a house and I ran out of money.
That's
So,
hard. Yeah, I get it.
and I was still living in my friend's basement and trying to figure it out. And so I took out a small, well, I don't even say it was a small business loan. Like I literally took out a high interest rate loan. I'm like, all right, I need to get a coach. I need to um just get, feel comfortable like that my bills are paid and not have to worry about that because I didn't want to have what we call commission breath, where I was trying to force the sale, get people to do things they're not ready to do.
Yeah, people can smell it when you're hungry. And it's the difference in sales of are you adding value or are you just trying to get paid?
Yep. Yep. And it worked because it took a few months and then I ended up having like five or six pending. And within a year, I paid that loan off and all my rest of my bills. I mean, I was like almost debt free within 18 months of that day.
Any other insights into the difference of, and we hinted at this earlier too, of owning your business versus running it?
Well, the yeah, owning it would be the responsibility of the buck stopping here, and that I am responsible for getting up every day and doing something in my business to drive it forward. Running the business is making sure that I'm organized, having a system in place so that I am not constantly trying to reinvent my business every day.
That's a that that's an interesting way to put that. Reinvent the business every day and having um, a system in place. I think that's incredibly important. So, what does Hudkins Real Estate look like 12 months, 36 months from now?
Well, we've narrowed our focus down to who our target market is and who we want to. I mean, and I should say this, we would help anybody with real estate, but we had to create a niche market for ourselves so we could focus things and not be scattered because we were doing investing, we were doing all kinds of stuff. We are what I would consider transition specialists. We're helping people either, upsize or downsize or age out of their home. So if like yourself, you own a home, you're ready to get something new because the kids have gone off to college. We specialize in helping you get the perfect home while selling your other home. I mean, two transactions at once, one is enough, two is a big deal. And we've
Yeah,
been very successful in helping people do that. And then aging out of the home, that's a time when you need somebody that's compassionate. And my wife and I have been through a lot in our lives. We have a lot of experience with dealing with, trauma and difficulty and challenges. And I think that lends itself well to that market as well. Because, someone who can't live in their home anymore is maybe going to a retirement center. They just need someone who's patient and understanding and compassionate. And that is what we have a lot of.
I think that's a I think those are really great words. And I think it applies across a spectrum of a lot of businesses. Um, and it's often lost, unfortunately, is that we got impersonal because everything's over Zoom, right? Just like
Hmm.
this. But
Hmm.
being able to project a little bit of compassion, empathy, and humanity in the now not having a storefront world is pretty critical. Um, you mentioned before I asked the final question, you mentioned uh, recruiting into the cloud space. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, it's so what one of the things it's a relatively new company, and there's nine different ways that you can make money with Real. And and one of them is commission. There's others, stock purchase plans. There's also they bonus you for different levels of production in your business, which is basically like whatever money you put in paying company dollar, you get a lot of that back in stock, and it's a growing company and the stock is going up in value. So we want to share that with as many people as we can. And it gives us that ability because we're really trying to create a group of people who want to do this at a high level and collaborate in business. And if they're interested in joining, Real and want to find out more about it, they can reach out to us. It isn't that they have to. We just want to find other people that want to do their business, real estate business at a high level. And if we can do it together at Real, that would be great. If not, the opportunity is always there.
Is it regional or geo-specific, or is it national?
Oh, I can help anybody join Real from anywhere, anywhere
Okay.
that it's within the. So Real is within the 50 states, and then I don't know if it's in all of Canada, but I know it's in most of Canada.
Okay. Right on. All right. Last question. Everybody gets this one. What advice would you offer to an aspiring entrepreneur or someone who's struggling in their first year or two? Because you faced it.
Yeah,
So what would you tell them?
I think most of us that are entrepreneurs have what I like to call the idea machine in their head. And so my wife is she has that too, but not she's not plagued with it as much as I am. Don't get down on yourself for having so many ideas. And I think for every 20 ideas, one of them is good. It is helpful if you can find someone that can help you with that. But that to I think the best advice would be, become comfortable with the ideas, write them down, bounce them off other people. But, when you're thinking big, always look at it and think, how can I think bigger? And then how can I
Love
think
that.
bigger and push yourself? Because when you look back, and when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't think big enough. I didn't push myself hard and I could have done so much more. And for whatever reason, I didn't. But moving forward, I can change how I move forward and I can think bigger now.
It's actually great because that's an exercise that I take people through as well. Mind storming in the superconscious mind.
Hmm.
It's really important. Bonus question because you pulled the thread and caught my interest there. Um, what's the biggest challenge you have today, do you feel like? And if you had a magic wand and you wanted to change one thing, what would it be?
Well, my my biggest challenge is staying focused and staying on my schedule. Like I do have so many ideas. Now I've seen success when some of them, so I start feeling I can do anything, but I know that I need to rein that in. But if I had a magic wand, I would follow my schedule every day because I believe that if you can, you time block out, like I've got to make calls from 9 to 10. And if that's all I do, I can talk to probably 10, maybe 15 people if I'm not long-winded during that time. I mean, good conversations, probably 5 to 10. And if I do that for 3 hours a day, and let's say I talk to 20 people a day, 100 people a week, And then when I'm ready to start working, on the business, and we're talking about, content for our social media, that we stay focused on that and we don't get pulled into the other things. So it's all about focus and staying on task. I could be better at that. I could get 10 times what I'm getting done daily now.
Love it. Fantastic. Well, for everybody watching, appreciate you tuning in and staying with us to the end. And Craig, thank you for joining us today. It's great words, and a very very interesting and admirable journey that you've been on so far. And I wish you guys all the luck. So thanks for being here with me.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
And we'll see everybody else next time on Navigating to Success.